Today's May 1st, and I'm going to take some rhizomes from my monster Chinook hop. I only noticed these shoots about 3 days ago, so it's time to get at it. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. Oh wow, look at those shoots already coming up. Don't be afraid to get down in here. These things are beyond resilient. For example, my parents tried to get rid of theirs and they rototilled them in and it made it 10 times worse. So always keep that in the back of your mind when you're getting in here. All right, I found some pay dirt. Here's a good example. Here you can see on the top, it's crunchy, it's woody, it's last year's vine. And then down here, we've got some fresh live stuff with some shoots already coming off. So I'm gonna do 3 things with these rhizomes. First, I'm gonna plant them in these little planters here to give away to friends, and we'll see how they do. We'll check up on them again. Then I'm gonna store some in a Tupperware, probably in my fridge for a month and a half, see how they age with a little damp napkin. And then, lastly, I'm gonna direct plant one of these rhizomes, or 2 of these rhizomes, in the sister bed right across from there to frame out the window. Here we're at the sister bed, and I'm gonna plant a handful of fun from the first bed into here. All right, pretty easy. Let's check back in a couple months and see how they do. It's mid-August, so it's time for a hop update. You can see over here, the Chinook plant is coming in nicely. Despite having 100 degrees, despite being roughed up by wind, it's very resilient. We're all the way to the peak up there at 18 feet, and we have a ton of cones on there, all very green, all looking super healthy. All it gets is the occasional water, the occasional morning pea, and some coffee grounds. So let's take a visual inspection closer to one of the cones and see what we got. Here we've got tons of green cone, nothing on the outside brown, which would suggest harvest. I still know that we're probably 4 weeks out. If you take a look inside, you'll see a little bit of that yellow, that loop in there, and it smells good, but it's kind of got a tomato plant smell, so we're still well off from like that amazing, remarkable aroma you get when you open up a hop bag. Over here, we have the rhizomes that we pulled up earlier in the season and planted. You can see very healthy looking. We even got a little bit of cone up here, which is cool, but the focus for the first year is just make sure they're healthy and they plant themselves down in the ground. Next year, they're gonna come out in full force, just like that one. Here, on the south end of our barn, I have some hop plants that I planted maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I just started trellising them up, kind of used it as a place setter and a ground cover at the same time, always knowing that I'd get around to supplying them with a little bit more. You can see they're not doing very well, but I really should come through here, and next spring I'll go ahead and cut off some of the ones that aren't going to make the trellis there, and we're going to install an irrigation system to give them the water that they need. So hopefully that'll help out and they'll be healthy by the next year we make a video. So you're about to see that this is definitely a labor of love. These things come down pretty hard. They also scratch the shit out of your arms. I could remove the cable and the eye hook up there, but I'd rather not, just leave it up there for next year. So just going through, picking cones. all by my lonesome. And as soon as I get enough, I use this for a wet hop beer, and I'll go ahead and link to another beer that we did last year using wet hops, but it's 2 pounds of wet hops going in here for the Whirlpool edition. And remember, when you're making those calculations, it's 4 or 5 fold because of the weight. So back to the dehydrator for another batch of hops I picked, and I borrowed this from my ma. Its lowest setting is 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and basically overnight will do it. 6 or 8 hours is fine enough. I had so many hops that I used my Ninja air fryer, and it's got a low setting that you can also dehydrate it. So if you don't have a dehydrator proper, use a Ninja. So back here, taking them out, getting ready to package them up into vacuum sealing bags. Initially I was bummed that this was perforated down the center, but I took a butane cartridge, cylindrical, and actually kind of used it as a muzzle loader to pack it down there, so it actually really worked well. So vacuum out, and then we'll put a double seal on both sides. I ended up actually doing quite well, getting 2 pounds of dried out of this whole thing. To summarize, these 7-year-old Chinooks came up early May there, and it took about 4.5 months, and we did kick out the equivalent of about 2.5 pounds of dried Chinook. Street value, about $20. Labor of love, worth it? Absolutely. So I'm taking down this organic matter, and it'll end up in some of my other garden beds to help fuel those in the future. And I'll end up putting some fertilizer on the ground here. You can see those 1 years on the right side and the left side are doing well, and I expect them to kick out the jams next year for sure. As always, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you in the next video.